So this is one of the elements of the Fierce Self-Compassion program, which is a follow-on from the Mindful Self-Compassion program, which some of you have done with me or with other teachers. And actually, I've shared Fierce Self-Compassion in lots of different workplace contexts and in the context of workshops where people haven't done any self-compassion before, because I really feel that it's so helpful in life to have a sense of some resourcing, particularly around motivating ourselves when needed to make changes, motivating ourselves to take care of our own needs. And then this particular aspect, which I'm going to explore a bit more fully with you, protecting ourselves. And often that expresses itself as setting boundaries. Does anyone here recognize that sometimes you need to set boundaries around your energy, your time, your availability? I mean, on so many levels, right? We're challenged in our lives around setting boundaries. And for many of us, it's not something that we have been particularly encouraged to do, taught how to do, feel bad about, feel really kind of wobbly around. So often people will say to me, oh, I'm not very good at boundaries. Yeah. And it's like, well, what does that mean? Yeah. And generally what I find, both for myself and for others, is that when I kind of explore a little bit deeper, is I know what boundary I would like to set. I know there's a need there. Yeah, but there's some story about how it's going to be too uncomfortable. Because often if I express a boundary, my fear is that it will disappoint the other person, they won't like it. I might get rejection, they might challenge me on it, might not be acceptable. So it takes courage. It takes courage, right, to say no. You might just notice how it is for you in your body when you think about the times when you say no. Maybe you find it really straightforward, or maybe it's like really easy with certain things, like, do you want milk in your tea? No. Yes or no. But other things, we might find it really hard to say no. And think about both kind of saying no as a word, but also no as, stop. So I've explored a little bit with some of you, how gestures, embodying, the protective strength is really helpful. So you might just try this out for yourself, just, putting up one hand, two hands, and just saying no, stop, and see how that feels for you. Or, these are my limits, enough. I quite like doing that a bit more forcefully. It's not, I'm not so sure. It's like, no, that's it. I've had enough. Yeah. And there's also something as well about our boundaries are spatial, right? So we have our own personal boundaries. And being attuned to this space that is yours, I think, can be really resourcing in practice. Yeah, because each of you is here in your own space, right? I know some of you have got cat friends and maybe dog friends around, and maybe it's okay for them to come into your personal space, maybe not. Yeah, your personal space is all the way out as far as your arms reach, either side of your body, above your body, in front of your body, behind your body. Just think about the fact that if somebody comes into that space, you sense it, right? You have a sense of, oh, you're in my personal space. And hopefully that's a source of joy and delight, when people come close. But it also can be uncomfortable. And we don't feel okay. Or for whatever reason, sometimes it's okay with that person, and then other times it really isn't. So just having a sense of like your personal space that you inhabit. It's nobody else's space, it's your space. Just feel into what that's like and what it would be like to really take up your space in those moments when you have a sense of needing to protect yourself, maybe protecting yourself around boundaries. So setting a boundary, standing up for yourself, asserting yourself. And this could be in the context of work, in a group, in families. So I know that, setting a boundary has been really important for me in the context of family and close relationships, as well as, other aspects of my life. And it can also be a real source of tenderness and vulnerability. It can be difficult to sense into our vulnerability, but actually it's our vulnerability that lets us know, oh, actually, this isn't okay for me. Something doesn't feel right. This is beyond my limits. You've crossed a line here, right? So our sensitive selves are a really important source of information about when our boundaries are needed and, oh, I need to protect myself. So the feelings that often come up are feelings of vulnerability, fear, and then also frustration, anger. Strong feelings can come up around it. And we might feel it mostly in the body, or it might be a strong emotion, mental activity, lots of agitation. You might feel quite kind of like, a bit, trapped in some way. So I'd like to share with you a practice that's called the self-compassion break for protection, for boundaries. And it weaves in the 3 different core elements of mindful self-compassion, which is mindfulness, common humanity, and then kindness towards ourselves. So I'll guide the practice, and I'm going to invite you to bring to mind, if you want to, right, and do make a wise choice for yourself, given how you're feeling today and your energy and stuff. You could bring a situation to mind where you have a sense of, some need to protect yourself. Could be at work, could be family, could be in other relationships. Maybe you feel some anger, some frustration. You have a sense of, I really need to have some boundaries here. Need to be brave. Okay, so settle into a posture that feels like it's going to support you to embody this sense of really standing in your strength. And please be in choice. So if that doesn't feel like what's right for you this evening, you could just stay here and just let the words kind of drift over a little bit. Just go very softly. You can always listen to the recording another time. But if you'd like to, bringing to mind a situation where you have a sense of needing to protect yourself in some way, not because you feel really in any physical danger. Because that's likely to be too strong to work with. So you want to choose something that's on the mild to moderate scale so that you can learn these steps. Trust that it will resource you to be on your own side, to stand up for yourself when needed in all situations. So something that feels workable with. And then just sensing into a posture that feels strong. So you can feel the support beneath you, you're rooted, steady. Perhaps on the inhalation, taking your shoulders up towards your ears, if that's okay for your shoulders, and then just dropping them back maybe a little bit more than they were before. So you've got a sense of your shoulders back and strong back, lifting up through the spine. Sense of standing tall. And if you don't feel like you can stand tall in your own imagination right now, you could bring to mind somebody else who would really encourage you to stand tall. Like your best friend, you know, your best friend would really want you to protect yourself. And then bringing this particular situation to mind, let yourself feel how it is. You know, the emotions that arise in you, the sensations in your body. When you think of this situation where you have a sense of, yeah, I need to protect myself, I need some boundaries. And just getting really clear. So this is mindfulness. Yeah, I show up and I get real. Getting really real with yourself about how it feels and what's happening from your perspective. Of course, there are always many different perspectives in any situation, but how it is for you is that it's not okay in some way. You might say to yourself, I can see clearly. I can see this clearly. I see what's happening. This is not okay. Maybe I should not be treated this way. Or even, this is unfair. Just finding your own words to mindfully acknowledge clearly this is how it is. Yeah, so a sense of clarity. I see this. And now I'm going to bring in the piece of common humanity. So we empower ourselves through a sense of connection. You might have a sense of connection with these others who are practicing with you in the group right now. Recognizing the truth that it's part of our being human. It's part of the human experience that we encounter moments in relationships, at work, in our personal lives, where our boundaries are crossed. You might say to yourself something like, I'm not alone in feeling this way. Other people have experienced this too. By standing up for myself, I stand up for others. Everyone deserves fair treatment. Me too. Again, just finding your own words and maybe repeating a phrase that empowers you. I am not alone. This is so human. Then I'm going to invite you to embody a little bit of that strength, the strength of the no. So it might be putting your hand into a stop sign or making a fist of your hand and putting it over your chest or on your solar plexus. And just feel the determination, the strength, and the courage that you're calling on. And as an act of kindness, you might say to yourself, I will protect myself. I will stand up for myself to be safe. I am strong enough to speak out or to take this on. Just being curious now about the words that you might need to hear to encourage you to be brave. Maybe to speak your truth or to take action, to assert your boundary. You might consider what you'd say to a friend, someone you care about, to give them courage. And then bringing alongside a gentle understanding, maybe wrapping your fist in your other hand, gently holding it. Recognizing that this expression of courage, protection, is also an expression of compassion. This is caring for yourself. Just as everyone else deserves respect, their own personal space, their boundaries, so do you. And just feel how the force of your strength and determination is wrapped around by this tenderness, the warmth and connection of compassion, so that this force is really a caring force. It's a caring force, not a destructive force. It's full of love. And then just resting with yourself, however you're feeling. You can release the words, the gestures of the self-compassion break if you like. Just really allowing yourself to be feeling just as you're feeling right now. Maybe feeling vulnerable, maybe feeling strong. Maybe both are very present. Both are so much part of being a human being. Maybe just close this practice for now with a line about boundaries. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously.